Welcome to Los Compas Lounge, a PSA for brown men.
We are your hosts. This is Raul.
This is Javier.
My name is Reuven, and this is a podcast about brown men talking about issues that matter to you. We talk about things that we don't usually talk about in the brown communities. We're just three regular compas sharing our experiences to inspire positive change. Compa, pull up a seat. We have one ready for you. It's been a while since I've watched a good movie, man. You know, something that makes me laugh, and, I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, dude, do you remember Fast Times at Ridgemont High? And, dude, we just started cracking up. We didn't even have, that's all I had to say, dude, and we just started cracking up. And then, we started, just reminiscing about movies from the 80s because, we're that generation. We were younger. We're in high school, but that was still, that was our generation of teen movies, man, and it was pretty cool. We just had a little a road trip down memory lane, and then I know Javi brought it up, and we started laughing and everything. So I said, hey, you know what? Why not talk about movies that influenced us in one way or another when we were teens?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like even right now when you said Fast Times in Richmond High, I go, oh yeah, it's like
Crazy Spicoli, man, Crazy Spicoli.
Which one was Spicoli?
Sean Penn.
He was,
I know that
Sean Penn, dude, the main dude.
I think he was like the original, they made a lot of characters afterwards, but he was like the original one, like Bill and Ted, like they kind of had his
yeah, it was sort of like that dumb surfer dude, cool dumb surfer dude type of thing, dude.
Yeah, dude,
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then after that, Silent Bob, and what was the dude's name? Bill and Silent Bob or something like that.
I know which one you're talking. Kevin Smith.
Yeah. But I mean, either way, this stuff in in that type of like genre type of thing. It's like a couple of buddies, Silent Bob, Jay and Silent Bob, Jay and Silent Bob. But where it's basically like a buddy, a two buddy type of, of show.
It's kind of the equivalent of this generation's McLovin, right? What's that?
Oh yeah. Bad. No, what was it? Badass. I forgot that.
But anyways.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. But that's what it is. So let's jump into this. And so, what movies influenced you as a teenager?
Well, I remember watching The Outsiders. That one was a movie that I would just watch it and then I could just rewind it and watch it all over again. And it's like even right now, sometimes when I'm like channel surfing and I see it, I go, oh yeah, that's a good movie. Then also I also another movie that just like made me laugh and is Airplane, and that one it's like it's like Shirley, you must be kidding,
Who's Shirley? Hey, who's Shirley?
I am not kidding. Stop calling me Shirley. And then even sometimes the only thing that sometimes. Okay, that movie they show one nude scene, just a single nude scene, and at the time I was like, oh yeah, let me forward it. I know where it is and stuff, But now, sometimes when they're passing it, and I want to show my kids just because it's such dumb comedy, But then I have to be careful just for that one piece, And there was a lot of movies like that just for just a single piece. And then now I feel like, oh man, I can't, or I have to get the TV version, to show it to my kids, Yeah,
it's funny how you want to expose your kids to the same kind of feelings and that those movies kind of conjured up in you, right?
Yeah, you know what? I love the slapstick comedy of the 80s. Like things that pop in my head are like the Police Academy series. And then I'm not sure if that's the one that also had like O.J. Simpson before he became,
No, that was Naked Gun. Naked Gun, yeah. The
Naked Gun
another
series,
one that I always watch.
And those were fun, dude. I mean, they were like stupid fun, but not too stupid fun. Like where they're just pendejos. But it was just a fun type of comedy, man. That I think everyone could get a quick laugh at. No one would get really offended. It's just it wasn't like it wasn't like in your face type of stuff that you sort of see now, you
Uh,
know, and it was fun, man. I mean, I don't think movies really influenced me, but I remember having a good time going to the movies, you know, and one movie in particular, Stripes, and it had um, Bill Murray in it,
that's a
you know.
military movie, isn't it? Is it a military
Well,
movie?
you know, it's a comedy, or you know, but it's or it might not be. Like, I can't remember the title. It might be Stripes, it might be something else. But it's a comedy with Bill Murray, and there's just like one scene where, you know, you're like in a hangar, and then you know, he has to like lead a troop and everything, and you know, he sort of tries to get serious, but it's still a comedy, you know, and they just do like this like that old military song, you know, like when they're marching, you know, they always have that marching song that they
Background.
always, yeah, here we go, here we go, you know. And it was just stupid funny, man, and I loved going to the movies, man, you know. I mean, because it was a rarity. You know, we wouldn't go to the movies all the time, you know, but when we did, one person would pay, the rest of us would wait in the, you know, we'd wait in the back, and you know, the door would open, and you know, we'd go in, and that's when, you know, you could get the super jumbo size popcorn, and you can get unlimited refills, you know. So the trick for us was, you know, one person would go, you know, because you know, we spend the whole day there, man. You
Yeah,
know,
you can
like
sneak
we'd
from.
watch like three movies,
Yeah,
man. You know,
Commerce
and
theaters, no?
yeah.
well, for me, you know, yeah, for you guys it was Commerce. For
They
me, it
had
was
the dollar
in
day
the
or
West
something.
Side. Yeah, you know, and I remember one dude, you know, we'd always get assigned one person to go, you know, after each movie because we didn't want the same person to go because they might remember, you know, and but so it was like a whole orchestration, dude, and it was funny because but, you know, a bunch of chamacos, you know, like you know,
Teenagers.
junior high and high school kids, you know, trying to coordinate how we're gonna sneak in, and you know, we have to like time the movies just right. You know, one starts at 12, one starts at 2, one starts at you know, 4 o'clock or whatever. We all had like, so I mean, it was a big to do because you know we would rarely go to the movies, but when we did, man, we had a
Go
blast. You
tear
know,
it
and I
up,
think,
huh?
yeah, and I think that's what I really liked about movies was not so much the movies,
The
but
experience.
the experience and the camaraderie that I had with my friends back then, you know, and we would laugh about it, you know, like the following week or when we go back to school. Yeah, we were all chingon. We snuck into the movies and we tell people about it. Pendejos that we would tell people about it because someone's older brother or sister works over there, you know, and they'd have to keep their eye out, but we still find a way to get in.
Man, that's funny because I started remembering now the drive-ins. I don't know
Oh
if
yeah, those were awesome.
back in the day,
Mm,
that was
The
awesome.
floral
Yeah,
drive-in. They charge by the
early,
car.
yeah,
You
early
know.
80s. So you know how we used to do it, right?
mm.
In the trunk. And
Yeah.
my friend Johnny's older brother had a van, and it was all converted. Like it was this literally kind of
A
looking like,
living room,
yeah, pimped out kind of van
Yeah.
with all the plush
like
inside. A
Uncle
little,
Rico's.
yeah, a little bed in the back and shit like that. You know, oh man, so
I
crazy.
remember,
But underneath
you know,
the
that
bed,
reminds me,
yeah,
dude.
there
Like
was a
I used to
compartment.
love, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know, like when
Huh?
you talk about the van, dude. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, that's what I wanted. I wanted like the whole suited up van and
Yeah,
everything, all
yeah,
pimped
Remember,
out and
neighbor had
everything.
one.
yeah, yeah,
Neighbor had
exactly. So,
a friend
uh-huh,
had one that had
a heart.
a picture of a Trojan.
A heart.
So we used to call it the Trojan van. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Hey, those were popular, man. Those were
Yeah,
like
those
low
paint, those
rider type
murals.
of,
Yeah, yeah,
and with the flares and everything.
yeah.
They were
Windows, a little.
with little, yeah, heart-shaped windows,
Yeah.
that were tinted and stuff. So, anyways, that was the van. It was, I'm sure, a few years older, but we used to underneath the bed in the back, like they had a bed, like a little bed, as big as a desk, um, and underneath that was a compartment like for storage, right? So we used to sneak our asses in. We used to go inside there, and we used to park like a block away before we going into the drive-in and go inside there. And then we get in, and there, fuck, we're like, oh shit, we feel the bumps as we're going in, and then we're like, okay, it's quiet, and boom, they open the door. Fuck, we get out. All right, cool. There we are. But again, it was just a bunch. It's the memories of a bunch of teenagers. And when the older brother, right? The older brother was always the bad influence for us, which is cool back then. But I remember watching, all kinds of movies, Rambo and Scarface and all those movies. Sometimes in the drive-in, sometimes in the movie theater. And believe it or not, I actually remember having some good, uh, awesome, like family feel good movies with my family when I was way younger, with my mom and dad. And they used to
The
make,
Cantinflas.
yeah, cantinflas. Yeah, exactly. They used to make tortas de jamon or carnitas
Yeah.
or whatever. And that was our dinner in the movie theater. That
Yeah,
was the
no,
best
yeah, I
part.
remember my mom having like tortas, like you said, like in her purse. And once we sit down in the movie theater, I hear pass them, boom, boom, boom.
You know what? Let me tell you a really quick story. We went on one of those. You know how they had the I forget which movie, not theater, the drive-in. They had a little area in the front,
With
right in front of the
swings,
screen.
right?
They had the swings, the sand, and everything. And I was the
Yeah.
youngest, so like my brother and my sister and my mom. I remember my mom very clearly. Okay, all three of you go, and when the the movie starts, you guys come back and make sure you take care of your brother. Anyway, so we're there having a blast, and I see the lights and stuff, beep, 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 people honking and stuff, and my brother and my sister just choom. I'm right there.
Oh
What
man.
the? Oh shit, dude! That was the first time I almost crapped in my pants because I was
You were
like
alone.
alone, yeah, and I was like, I don't even remember. I'm sure I was crying, a little kid, right?
Ah, you cried.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's all I remember, and I know they came back for me, but
You probably got a yelling from your
yeah,
mom.
not for me. Yeah, years later, you hear the story. My mom and like, oh man, how my mom would like, ¿Cómo te agarré a tu hermano? Tu hermano, like, where's your brother? What the heck? And all that stuff. So I
Yeah.
kind of remember that story. It gets a little convoluted here
Yeah,
and
but
there.
you remember more because they keep tallying because they keep
Yeah,
tallying it out.
yeah, yeah. I remember the part of feeling lonely, and then really that's it. I don't remember like
Yeah.
what the heck, because I was so young, and I just remember everybody piecing the putting the whole story together and all the get-togethers, and ever since then, man, I have this fear of drive-ins. Nah.
But it's funny because I took my kids to the drive-in like during the winter, like probably around like November or something like that. And our windows kept getting fogged up, and we're like, oh man, when the summer comes, we'll come a lot more often, because the kids love the experience. I mean, it was fun because we have the SUV, and in the back it just like made it a big bed and everything like that. And so like, I mean, it was fun. Like I said, just that the windows kept fogging up because it was cold. But now with the situation, I don't see why they can't open the
The drive,
drive-in, the
right?
drive,
Yeah,
the
for
drive-in.
family.
Yeah, they should open it up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for me the drive-ins, and it's funny because what the first movies I saw were what let me rephrase that. All these movies that are coming out, like Star Wars and Rocky and all that, I tell the youngsters, yeah, I remember I saw the original Star Wars I, back in back in this thing called a drive-in, and I had to explain to them what the hell a drive-in is, man. But I remember then seeing Rocky, the original Rocky in a
Mm.
drive-in, and I can't remember the actual movie, but I remember, like you said, Raul, the family being there, and popping up the, we had one of the cars we had was a Nissan a Datsun before it was even Nissan, a Datsun four door
Station
car,
wagon. Oh, car.
yeah, station wagon type of thing, so you would pull up, but you would pull up backwards.
Oh,
This way you can pop up the back, and then we
yeah.
have our cobijas there, and yeah, we'd have like our our homemade food and everything, little burritos that my abuelita would make us and everything,
Nice.
and there it was, man, and then thinking back, it's like maybe some of these movies that we watched were maybe not appropriate for us to
Oh,
watch.
you know what? I remember my parents also like taking us, and we already knew like whenever they passed nude scenes, we had to turn around, and we usually sit like my parents would sit in the back, and then the kids in the front, so this way they could like see us, and we'd have to turn around like during the during the nude scenes, like
Cover
but
your eyes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one time we saw when I think it was Octopussy or something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the 007.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that they started like, and then like my they just go, you know what, let's just get out of here. Like they started passing a lot of like nude scenes, and then they gave us the money back or something like that. But yeah, it's true. Like a lot of times we would go see, or sometimes there were some like horror movies, like I was like, damn, like I wouldn't let my kids watch those movies.
Yeah, man. You guys remember Lyndon Blair? Oh man, what's the name of that movie?
Oh yeah,
Exorcist?
Amityville
Yeah.
Horror,
Oh,
Oh,
The
The
Exorcist,
Exorcist.
The
Oh
Exorcist.
man, I
Yeah.
couldn't sleep for
Like head
years,
turning
dude.
around and
Yeah,
everything.
shoot, man.
Even up to now,
I wouldn't see.
you
Yeah,
know,
I hate that
yeah.
movie because it brings me back. Right, it brings me back to like,
Yeah,
oh,
I heard that when that movie first came out, that they had like on-site like paramedics, so to test your blood pressure and stuff like
that's
that.
what yeah, people will come out freaking out of the movie theaters. That's what I heard too. Right, like
Yeah.
shaking and shit like that.
Yeah, because I saw it like on video. I didn't see it in the movie theaters.
No.
You know.
Hey,
It's funny. Like the one movie was the Amityville Horror,
yeah,
and to
that
this
was good
day,
too.
I mean, it wasn't like scary, like in your face scary. It was more like, and that's what I liked about horror movies, because I loved horror movies from the late '70s and early '80s, because they were more. It was more about messing with your head, like Halloween. That's my that. It
Yeah,
sounds
that's a
twisted,
scary
but that's
movie.
like my favorite movie of all time. I think is Halloween. And just hearing when you hear this the piano, all of a sudden you're like, oh man, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen.
And now a brown and proud PSA. Hey compas, so this is a fun episode, and we just want to say, make an excuse to spend more time with your family by watching a movie together. Family first, compas. We'd be honored to have you as a compa. Please subscribe to our podcast on your favorite listening app. So, all right. So, what movie or movies did you see yourself as the good guy or the bad guy, and how did that play out?
Well, for me, one movie that affected, or like, yeah, I guess influenced me or something. It was in high school. It was Sid and Nancy, and what happened was that I was what happened was that so like I went to I went to Belvedere summer school, and I was wearing a shirt that said Sid. And then after that, there was this girl that was behind me that she didn't know my name, but she just saw the shirt that said Sid. She's like, hey, Sid, or whatever. And so I just turned around, And then after that, me? She's like, yeah, here, because they were passing up the homework, And so there was like somebody not behind me. And then other people in the class started calling me that. And then when I went to high school, some of the people that I had met in that summer school, they just started calling me that, And then after that, so there was this, I was hanging out with this, like a punk rock group. And then this girl, she's all like, oh, I'm Nancy. And then there's a girl, no, I'm Nancy, and the girls were fighting to be Nancy. I was like, cool, I'll be Sid, And so then we like ditch school and go watch the movie, like at one of the girls' houses. And we'd all know all the parts, like, and then like practically like we wouldn't let the other people see it like peacefully, because we like the girls like just like, and they both wanted to be Nancy. I'm like, cool, that's fine. You could both be. Please don't fight for me. But like now looking back, I mean, that wasn't like a real good goal to be. I mean, like it was like a.
So, what was Sid and Nancy? What is Sid and Nancy
who is Sid
about?
and Nancy?
Like, what was the main?
So.
Or who is Sid and Nancy?
Yeah, so Sid is he's the bass player for a band called the Sex Pistols, and it's like a docudrama. The movie is actually based on actual facts, and so and he's in the band, and then he meets Nancy, who is she's an American, because they're over there in the UK, and she's into drugs, and then she gets she's like the Yoko Ono
The Beatles.
of the Sex Pistols,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets Sid into drugs, and like eventually they kick him out and he goes solo, and I mean at the end, I mean it's just like he ends up dying of an overdose, but he actually. Are you guys gonna watch it?
No, go. Yeah, you can spoil it for us.
Yeah, no, because he ends up killing Nancy. Like in
Oh, shit.
one time when they're in a in the drugs when he's all drugged or whatever, and he ends up killing her. And then before his trial, he ends up just overdosing or something like that. And
Wow, what a trip.
yeah, that's what I say. That's not even like it's not oh, I want to be him. I want to be him. You know what I mean? But I mean, at the time, like he
The
was just like
girls.
the girls. Yeah, the girls
Blame it on the women.
yeah, no. And then there was a famous poster. There was a famous poster of Sid and Nancy with handcuffs, but like they're handcuffing each other and they're like just like posing like that. And all the girls, oh, let's take a picture like that. Let's take a picture like that poster. And those two girls, they both had that poster in their room, you know, and like that, you know. And yeah, so it was like that was kind of like the I mean, I at the time when I was in high school, I mean, and the girls, they wanted to be Nancy and fighting to be Nancy. I'm all right, I'll be Sid, you know. And so
Yeah, like for me, it was a movie that I saw when I was a little bit younger. It's called the title is Champ, the Champ,
oh yeah,
and
with Ricky Schroeder,
with
huh?
Ricky
With,
Schroeder and John Voight. You know, so basically the movie's about this boxer, and he has one last shot, and you know he has his son, and he has his girlfriend. You know, and but he has to do it. He has to have this one last shot, knowing that he has some kind of condition, and unfortunately the champ doesn't make it. He dies in the ring, and that leaves Gary Schroeder, the boy, that leaves him basically fatherless. And I remember watching that, and it just had a profound impact on me, man. It's just like because it was just like right after my parents split up and everything, and I felt like I understood where he was coming from because in my mind I felt like my father had basically died because he bailed out on us, and I'm like, wow, we what's the next day? Literally, what is the next day going to look like without having a father? And I empathize, with that kid, because I saw part of me in that kid, and it just made my reality even more of a reality, because it was like, my father wasn't a boxer or anything, he's just a regular dude, but the notion of losing your father or losing someone that's dear to you, at such a young age, and how do you deal with this as a kid? And I remember I'm a kid, and I'm thinking very similar to what I'm talking about right now. It's like, man, how do I move forward? How does the kid move forward? And in my mind, I said, you know what, the kid and I will help each other out. So if he needs help, I'll be there for him, and if I need help, he'll be there for me. Even though it's a fictional character, in my mind, that's like, okay, this is how I'm going to get through it, just one day at a time. And I'm going to be a champ, I'm going to be a champ at whatever the hell I do, and, and that stuck through me, and later on in life um, when I would lose, close friends, when they would die, they died early on in life, I would always say to myself, the champ, he's with the champ now, and to this day, I mean, I even told my son, about the movie. I said, I told him, Mijo, when you're a little older, when you're older enough, we'll go ahead and watch this movie. And it had a impact on me, and I want you to watch it, and he finally did see it, and he's like, it was boring, Dad.
It just blew you away, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, that's cool. I had a feeling, that's what he would say, but so be it. But I wanted to show him that, and introduce him to like a quality movie, and so it was nothing like the movies that we were talking about that were really fun and everything, but it was like it touched my heart, and to this day, and it's like I strive to be the champ, for folks who lost things, or lost people, because I understand what they might be going through, or I think I might understand what they're going through,
Man, I don't know if I can follow that one up because it's pretty deep. It's really good. It's pretty profound because for me, I have actually two kind of general movies. One being Scarface, and the other one Star
Mm.
Wars. But with Scarface, I wanted to be freaking Tony Montana, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so many lines in there. It's like once you get the power, you get the
Yeah.
money. You get the money, you get the power. You get the power, you get the women, right? But you
Yeah.
say some other derogatory stuff, right? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to be Antonio Montana. And,
Yeah.
and we always joke, even now in our whole generation of you guys, we always joke about that
I
Scarface.
know, like,
Yeah.
it's funny because I heard my kids the other day say hello to my little friend.
Yeah,
Like they don't even know the origins of it. Like they just hear
Yeah.
it.
So it's big. It made a big splash. So for the longest time, he's standing there, he's getting shot and like unstoppable. He has his machine gun, his M16, and then he finally gets blown away, and everybody, and I was like, oh man, they killed the undestructible. He came from Cuba, the
Came
low of
from
the
nothing.
low,
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
nothing, and there is some deepness to it,
Oh yeah.
where
Yeah.
he wants to get approval from his mom, and he's hypersensitive about his sister, and he's like, mom, I am a success story, and he's like, nope, you're a freaking cocaine drug pusher and all that stuff. So he's looking for something, right? So I kind of see myself like I always was searching, as a kid. I was looking for meaning or
He's like
something,
looking for like acceptance
acceptance,
you
and
know,
exactly,
and validity. He's
yeah,
validating
yeah.
his life.
So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So when I saw him come up so hard and big time, gangster, right? Not that I was a gangster, but rather like, man, I want to be
The
that dude.
fame. Yeah.
The fame, and yeah,
It's
get myself a little white wife, here, right,
Michelle
brown dude.
Pfeiffer.
Oh yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer, right, and have all this power and respect and everything. But anyways, the other one is Star Wars, or the original Star Wars, right? And I'm not a big Star Wars geek by any means, but just I could tell you right now, any Star Wars movies that comes on regular TV or somebody's house, I'm gonna sit down and watch it. I just keep going back to it, and I love it. And I exposed my kids, mostly my son, and he likes, like, for some reason he gravitates towards the dark side, wanting to be the bad guy. And I always joke with him like, no, I'm Darth Vader, or I'm Darth Mao. He's like, no, you were Darth Vader last time. I go, all right. He's like, you be Luke Skywalker. I'm like, I don't want to be Luke Skywalker. So I remember growing up, the same thing, right? It's like, this weird theme of being the bad guy. I wanted to be the bad guy. Maybe because I was a good kid, I wanted to experience being the bad guy, right? Or the bad kid.
Yeah, no, well, it's funny because like kind of along the same lines, like I would watch The Outsiders, like I said, also, and
Yeah,
just
Pony Boy.
yeah, and we gotta win this battle, we gotta win this rumble, let's do it for Johnny, and
Yeah.
like that, see myself as Matt Dillon or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and just like like, and then back then I was like, man, like the rumble looks fun, like when you see the, and it does, because I mean it was, the rules, no weapons and stuff like that, so it was just like and it's kind of like, like the socials against the greasers is like, even if you win, we're still going to be the ones with all the breaks, and you're still going to always be a greaser and stuff like that, it's kind of has a lot of
Yeah.
like social, like real, like comparisons, parallels,
Yeah. Do you guys remember Stand By Me?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah. That was another one of like those genre movies,
Yeah.
like with Matt Dillon and all that.
The little
Yeah, yeah,
youngsters, right?
yeah. It's funny though, that you talk about Star Wars. Do or do not. There is no try. And I have right here on one of my walls. I actually have that right here. Let's see if I can see it. Oh shit.
Oh man, you're
Let's see if
falling
it's
down.
true.
And you liar. I don't see nothing. I just see darkness in your past.
It's the darkness.
So either
Darkness
way,
will.
so the funny thing is, my wife is a hardcore, Star Wars geekify and everything, man. I
Oh
mean,
wow.
we when the when the I don't know which the first or the second new series came
Oh,
out.
the first episode
Episode
one.
one.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
'90s.
we had to watch. So now it wasn't the ninth. So it was the one that just came out.
Oh,
The one with Ray.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
dude, we had to watch the entire thing. Dude, there's a lot of movies in that Star Wars thing,
Yeah.
man. And this last one that just came out, I think was it
The
last
Rise
year?
of Skywalker.
The last one, the
Yeah.
final, the one that should end all of them.
It's not
Dude,
gonna.
No, it's not gonna
oh, it's
end.
not gonna end. But the thing is, like, dude, it was like a 2 week marathon, man. I mean, we watched it
Yeah.
from episode one, two, three, four, all the way, and it was about the time that Disney Plus came out and they had the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
Oh
watched
yeah.
all of
Yeah.
the Mandalorians, dude.
Yeah.
Literally, like we had like maybe 2 hours to spare. From the time we watched the last episode of the Mandalorian
Hmm.
to go to the movie theater to watch the rise of Skywalker, or
Skywalker.
whatever
Hey man,
the title was, man.
I have a confession, dude. I had a man crush on the Mandalorian. Up until he took off his helmet, dude.
Yeah, that's
I'm like, fucking dude,
I know.
man.
I
Put
was gonna
on your
say,
helmet, dog. He's
I
just badass.
But
You know?
I love it because, well, it's a good thing, the whole series. But I like that these last two Star Wars, Mandalorian and the other one, they had two Latinos
Oh yeah,
as
for
the
sure.
lead roles. Man, it was
Yeah.
like you would never see that back in the
No,
'70s or
no, not at
'80s,
all.
even the '90s, and it was cool, man. It was like there was like a little pride in me, a little Latino pride in me,
Hmm,
and it's
hmm,
like, yeah,
hmm.
it's cool, man. It's like there's a couple of us there, and the black dude Finn,
Finn, yeah.
was like a major dude, a major character, and then the Korean actress, she
Hmm.
was there as well. So I like that.
Yeah, I try to expose my kids a little bit, but my son is 6. At 5, I was trying to expose him, but some of that stuff is hardcore, a little like violent, and scary for Darth Vader would come out, and especially like Darth Maul. My son's like not quite there. He likes it from a distance. Like he won't sit down and just do a marathon.
yeah, and I was gonna say, and
Yeah,
also the attention span, because also
exactly.
I remember when I was little, and then like I would watch, like, let's say the Incredible Hulk or something
Sure.
like that, like the series. Um, I would call it I can't even tell you any of the storylines, but I just want to see when he turned into the Hulk and just start
Hmm.
destroying everything,
Yeah.
like and then after that, like I would have, hey, I tell my brother, hey, call me when he turns into the Incredible Hulk, and so I'd be like doing something else. Oh, he's gonna turn, okay, and
Yeah.
just I mean, so kind of like probably your son will like when they're doing the lightsaber moves, they're like bah, 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 like
Yeah. It's
the action parts.
But yeah, I guess the parts where it shows like the killing or the evil, like Darth Maul. I
Yeah.
traumatized them because I introduced them to the Darth Maul too early, and ever since he's out, too scary, too scary. So he likes Darth Vader, but I'm not sure if Darth Maul is his compa. But anyway, speaking about kids and movies and goriness and scariness, do you guys remember like all the movies we watched? They were like all rated R, man, or most of them were, and those were the good ones, right? So what is it about us as parents, at least for me? We're very selective of, okay, I'm not gonna let my son and my daughter watch R-rated movies, but that it's almost a double standard. We're coming up as kids in high school or junior high, and that's all we wanted to watch.
What you know what, for me right now, my oldest is 12, and so I think that he's still young. I mean, well, I think that they're still young, I mean, I guess when they're in high school it's going to be a little bit different, I mean, because I mean,
Are you gonna let them watch art? Like, at what age are you gonna be like? Are you gonna follow the guidelines, or are you just gonna be like ease them in, or what?
uh I probably the same thing that I did, I mean, it's like, I mean, I don't want them to see, this is funny because, like, I'm like, I don't want them to see like the nude scenes and stuff, but then there's some movies that are very violent and stuff like that, and I still don't want them to see that either, I don't want to them exposed. And then, like, right now, I think there's a lot of people new movies trying to push the envelope, I mean, it's like, there's like, my wife and I are like, it's unnecessary. Why did they add that piece? If it wasn't for that piece, just probably like,
The shock value.
yeah, like we were watching Transformers, and then there's this one scene where the kid is in the room, like, um and his mom's knocking, open the door. He's like, are you masturbating in there? You know, it's like the kids didn't understand what that even means, you know, but so it just went over their head, you know, like they but like we're all like why did they have to add that? It's a kids movie, you know.
But it's funny, like I think a lot of these kid movies, like especially animated,
Mhm.
they market it towards the kids or the families, where they're really more for the adults. I mean, when you and I'm not talking about like the graphic or visuals, but I'm talking about more the storyline.
Yeah,
You know, those are totally meant for for adults. You know, but I think they got smart because you know, as an adult, you don't want to, you can't see the same old Disney movie from like
yeah,
back in the 50s and 60s. I mean, you just get bored. You don't even want to watch it. So I mean, it's like I feel like the movie industry has, they got smart. Like, okay, we're gonna make it a cartoon, but it's really meant more
that
for
the dialogue,
adults
yeah.
or maybe like older teens.
Mhm.
But we're gonna make it into a cartoon. This way, we can reel in, the kids and get them hooked. I mean, my son, he's 17. So
How do you feel about him watching rated R movies and all
I
of
don't
that?
mind. Because for me, it's more about the context, and what is the film about. I mean, his mom and I, we had him, we forced him basically, to watch movies that we felt had an impact on us, like like I mentioned, The Champ, or like and especially me, I have him watch documentaries, and I have him watch movies uh, that are related to social political movements or things like that, like Chavez, or or things like that, because I want him to be socially politically conscious and aware. Um, but I'm not too concerned about him watching movies that have nudity or little sex or violence, because in all reality, there's social media, man. They'll have that whether we know about it or not, and they can watch the news, and the reality that's really going on in the nation right now, that's violence. So I'm not concerned about that. And luckily he's not really into that anyways. For me, my main concern was that he just doesn't watch TV mindlessly, and that he's just always on the TV. I mean, I literally took the cable away. I canceled the cable because he was watching it too much, but it's more, I want to understand what he's watching, and what does it mean, and I don't think I would want him to watch the movies that, some of the movies that we were
I
talking
know.
about, just because, it's some of those movies are pretty derogatory, man. And that's not how I want to raise my kid. No, you don't talk about women that way or girls that way. You don't do that, or this and this and that, or you don't bring someone down because of their ethnicity, or or because
Mhm,
they're
mhm.
they're they're overweight or whatever. It's like, nah, that's not cool.
But
But and it's weird because it's sort of like that's what I wanted to watch when I was when but
and
but I
that's what
didn't
I was
know
gonna
any better. That's
say.
the thing.
Yeah,
But
like
I didn't know any better. And I think as a
like
kid,
Porky's.
you don't necessarily,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, or Animal House and all
Uh-huh,
that. I
uh-huh.
mean, any of those John Belushi movies, man. But I think that's where it's different. I mean, when you're a kid, a teenager, a tween, it's different because I think for me, it was like that's how you sort of learned about stuff. You were
I
curious
know.
about girls, about sex, about college, or having a good time and everything. And this was sort of like
Like 16
what
Candles.
my what yeah what my mom couldn't teach me or wouldn't teach me. I had to learn in
For the
different
movies.
ways, and this was one of the ways that I did it was through the movies. So that's why I wouldn't get mad or anything if my son would watch those type of movies, because I think I would understand where he's coming from trying to watch those movies.
So the devil advocate, the last question as we wrap this up is, uh, um, we're sounding like hypocrites a little bit, right? So what is it, right? Even today, like I would probably watch Porky's, if it comes
Yeah,
up again, or Animal
yeah.
House. But here we are, we're being hypocrites, right? So what is it about those? experiences as teenagers. What is it about that particular movie? And you guys, we can go around. What is it about that particular movie that has us coming back for more and more, even men in their late 40s, knowing that it's probably there has derogatory stuff in there or violence, whatever it is, like Scarface. I'll still watch it, and I don't agree with a lot of the portrayals of Scarface in terms of Latinos or women and the whole drug culture, right? But I stole it away watching it because it takes me back.
Well, I think that's what you just said, the thing, the nostalgic, you said it takes me back. Like when you're watching the movies, like all those ones with Molly Ringwald, like
Breakfast Club.
16, Breakfast Club, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Weird Science. I mean, whenever, Weird Science, that was another movie that I just watched it over and over and over again, and it was just so like, what is it? What you said that keeps you coming back for more? I think it's the nostalgic. Like when you remember yourself, or when I'm watching it, like, oh man, I remember watching this movie with and at a ditching party with, and then I just started now speaking about that, like I wouldn't want my kids to be going to ditching parties either. Here I am, a hypocrite in another point.
But these are important issues, right? Because here we are as brown men, right? Who would have thought we're talking about these kinds of issues? That on the one hand, it was acceptable for us, and then that was 40 years ago or 20 years back, and now we're like, oh shoot, it's not acceptable.
Yeah,
right?
You know what? Hold on, right now, I just want to say, add to something that Ruben had said, just because I didn't want to interrupt you when you were saying that about the new kids movies, that it's like cartoons, but that the dialogue is like grown up, and so like my son Javi, my older one, he's a little bit more in tune and pays a little bit more attention. So I took my boys, the two of them, to go see Batman the Lego Batman movie, and then after that, we're sitting together. And then after that, there's this one part where Robin, he's a little kid, he's like, Mr. Wayne, my name is Richard Grayson, but the kids at the home call me Dick. And after that, kids could be so mean, And then Javi started laughing, and it went over Ralphie's head. He's just like, okay, kids could be so mean, but he didn't understand.
He didn't understand the reference.
Yeah, he's like, but the kids at the home call me Dick.
Yeah, part of it is nostalgia, and it's funny though. I mean, or I don't know if it's funny, but like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, my wife and I were down in LA a couple years ago for one of my cousin's weddings, and we were just tired, burned out. When you want to go out of our hotel, so let's see what's on the tube, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High was on. And we both, like I said, like earlier, we started laughing. Oh, yeah. And then we started watching it. And then we're like, oh, this is a dumb movie. Yeah, it's a dumb movie. Why the hell did we watch this movie? I don't know. I guess because we were dumb back then. Yeah, I guess we were dumb back then. And then, we just turned it off. But, I mean,
you didn't finish it? Man, I just finished watching it.
No, we didn't finish it because I guess because, we're older now, and that type of comedy doesn't relate to us anymore. But it's nothing bad. I'm just saying, like, when we were younger, it was totally fun, and funny, and now we're like, but there are certain movies like Airplane, dude.
Yeah,
that's classic, or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Throw Mama from the Train. I mean, those you could watch forever because it's just like it's goofy funny.
Yeah.
And I could watch those like forever, or like obviously like Star Wars, do or do not. There is no try. I mean, I could watch, certain movies all the time because they're just part of it. Yeah, it brings back good memories, and part of it is it's just a really good movie. Mm-hmm. If I'm in a funk and I want to get myself out of it, I'll put on Airplane, man. Mm-hmm. And I'll just, I can, and I'll be a happy puppy, and everything, and or like The Godfather, dude. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'm surprised we didn't talk about The Godfather, but it's like. That's another classic. Great classic right there.
I remember when you lived up in Santa Cruz. Sometimes we just have it on the whole marathon. Dude, you had the CD collection. And,
it was funny. Like, well, one of my my one of my apartment mates up there in Santa Cruz, the dude knew verbatim The Godfather. I'm like, damn, dude. And he also like Raul, he also knew verbatim Scarface, dude. The dude would watch it practically every day, man. I'm like, dude, I can't even come home without watching and hearing this damn thing. But you know what? I mean, that's the power of a good movie, man. I mean,
Yeah.
where there's something about it that sort of like Godfather, like in the Godfather 3, I try to go out, but they pull me back in.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. So I think part of it is nostalgia. Part of it is just a good movie, and there's certain movies that you can watch with your kids, like Airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of questionable scenes, but it's just slapstick funny.
I think there's only just one scene that's just the one scene where they show the boobs and stuff like that,
Oh, with the
but
gelatin.
yeah, no, not that one. When she panics, does anybody know how to fly? Is there any pilot? And everybody panics and everything. And then after this girl just gets right in front of the camera and just wiggles her tits, and then just
Because like the
that's
only
it.
other questionable for me was when they're in the cockpit and then they
Oh.
that blow up doll and
Yeah.
he's like basically fondling the stewardess,
Yeah.
and or flight attendant now.
No, she's blowing him up because of he's
Yeah,
deflating,
so-
and so she has
so-
to
so,
do the valve.
So
Yeah.
this something
Oh, yeah,
like
that's
that,
like that, yeah.
but I mean, but
No.
minus those scenes,
Yeah, there's also this other.
it's just
The other
it's just
scene when
fun.
she's remembering, she's like, yeah, we'd be on the beach, I'd sit on your face, and like she's all like,
Well, you know what? For me, I when in thinking about this more this morning as I was preparing, I was like, it takes me back. Of course, it's the nostalgia, but I want to jump in a little bit. I don't want to say deeper, but I want to bring in this feeling of feeling safe, of innocence. Of feeling comfortable. It brings its comfort. It's like, wow. I like the way this movie makes me feel because it takes me back to a time, nostalgia, where things were more, at least in that moment, things were comfortable, were safe, were nice, were calm, because you were with your friends in that ditching party, or because you were sneaking into a movie theater or a drive-in or whatever the case may be. But that whole experience, this energy of being surrounded by a good positive energy, and to go back, that movie kind of transports you back to that time, at least for me. And it takes me back. It is nostalgia, but it's also the feelings that come with that, comfort and safety and innocence, being a little kid.
If you like what you heard, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast and give us a 5-star review. It really means a lot and would really help out this podcast.
We invite you to visit us at loscompaslounge.com to share your ideas and suggest topics for future episodes.
Until next time, compas, be proud and be brown.
That's right. Be safe.
till next time.